What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here in the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with the early Saturday morning edition of NFL. Lindy's leans, likes, and locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me, and this video goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Great content like, I don't know, Tails.bet, where I just want to give a shout out to my guy J Metal K, who just hit us another hockey card. Again, it's like a little bit more afternoonish here on Saturday as I start breaking down the NFL slate, but wanted to start over in the Tails.bet streets. Hit that one, but the big thing, Kyle Manungai, we took the ladder all the way to the top, plus 2,000 there. Felt really, really nice to cash that one for everybody. This was posted for free over on Tails. You can see as we scroll down, I try to mix in some free stuff for the people over on Tails. Like, see, there's a pick'em variant that we've got going and ready to rock already. We've got, collab that I did with Greg that, again, obviously the Kyle Manungai thing did not come to fruition there in the way that I expected it to. Obviously, he smashed and we made a lot of money off of it, but DeAndre Swift, he got there. So half unit we lost on that, half unit we won on Kyle Manungai, the standard prop there, 34.5. And then, well, we took the ladder to the top of the building. Like probably could be looking over New York City right now. Or, I don't know, you could get a shitty apartment in New York City right now with that money. But anyway, awesome opportunity. Tails.bet. A ton of free plays thrown out there every single day, not just by myself, by so many other experts, as well as all of the VIP goodness. If you see top in the top right corner, and there you go. Threw that in there for the people. Black Friday came to fruition. Holy mother of God. And then some of these that are going to have just VIP. And that's a majority of the plays are going to just be VIP. But hey, there's a free one for you. Late night NBA underdog card. Try to throw those in overnight for you as well. VIP. So if you guys want to jump into the VIP, very easy opportunity. 50% off still going for a week or a month using promo code LOGO. That is promo code LOGO. I have nothing really else to add. Let's just get ourselves to some plays, shall we? To the leans. Week 13 NFL. Let's begin. Obviously felt good to have some good reads, and yeah, the Swift thing was a little bit annoying, but overall, I'm very happy with the results over the NFL this entire season. And has it been perfect? Absolutely not. But I think the big impetus for like me jump starting my NFL season is the guy in the top left corner, Quinshon Judkins. His first game, we locked in the premium Discord his rushing prop. It was a joke. They said, they're going to just kind of like slowly get him integrated. I was like, no, it's your rookie. You're absolutely waiting until it is absolutely necessary to play him. And once you do, you're just going to jam it. And that's exactly what we did. He went over his rushing prop by, I think, like 55 yards, 65 yards or something ridiculous. It's like a 16.5. It was incredible stuff. And so I have good juju going with him. That said, the weather, the totals, that's kind of the story I think of Sunday. I think the biggest total we have on the board is 46 at some books, 45.5s that exists. I don't know what to tell you. It is brutal out there in the streets. And this is one of the most weather affected spots. The top left corner, San Francisco, Cleveland, and the other one being Atlanta and the New York Jets. From a DFS perspective, I'm going to be breaking everything down over on the Stochastic YouTube channel in front of, 20,000 of my friends. I don't have 20,000 friends. I love my wife, though. We got ourselves San Francisco and Cleveland, and I want to tell you right from the get-go, Brock Purdy, we're going to see things improve for him here. The toe looked better. I mean, he looked awful in that first half, but it looked better as he went along, got a little bit more integrated, and I feel better about Brock Purdy's opportunities, but not in this spot. It's a Cleveland pass rush that we know is very potent. I think Cleveland's actually a pretty live dog, and I did take under touchdown on a pick'em card already in the prize pick street. So Quinshon Judkins under 70.5 rushing yards, but when you're talking mid-30s totals, and now you're seeing Samson mix in around 35% of the time. Ford, he still exists. Samson 35%, Ford. It could easily just switch there, but Judkins is right around half the snaps now, and probably put bubble wrap on him to some extent coming down the end of the year. Under 70.5 in a weather spot. I want to pay attention to that rain because it kind of goes back and forth in some of the models that I like to use. And 35 mile an hour sustained winds, that is a fact. And that is going to make it very difficult to pass. I get it. A lot of rushing attempts. I think his rushing attempt prop is 17.5, 18.5 everywhere. So a lot to kind of mine out of that one, but staying away outside of the aforementioned under touchdown, which again, anytime you can play a two-way market on those, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Mainly because otherwise you're just probably doing it wrong. Just saying, a lot of people play a lot of bad touchdown props. We try to find the good ones, and I do have one on this card, and it's disturbing, I suppose, but we'll get there. Marks over 10.5 receiving yards. A couple of different things going on with this. I have a bet in this game. I posted it to the VIP, 2 days ago? 2 days ago now. I didn't understand this line at all. We were potentially going to get CJ Stroud back, and now it's confirmed CJ Stroud is back. That's an upgrade over Davis Mills. Defensively, Houston is just incredible. Will Anderson's dinged up. We'll see his game time coming up to this one because that one really, really matters. But Daniel Hunter, he really matters too, and he's going to be out there no matter what. One of the best defenses in the NFL, potentially top 2, top 3. I mean, the Seahawks, we're going to talk about them in a little bit in the like section, and we're, of course, going to attack them with my Vikings because that's normal stuff to do. As for the Colts, coming off of a pretty tough L a week ago there in Arrowhead, and then Kansas City loses on Thanksgiving on the short week. Their season is pretty kaput, but Indianapolis still 8-3, still looking pretty darn good. And now's when we start to break down some of the implications of teams. You got, again, I just talked about Judkins, how they could potentially put the brakes off of him. The opposite with Jonathan Taylor. Feed him the rock. But I'm looking at Woody Marks. I think he'll be on the field quite a bit. And CJ Stroud was targeting him a lot more than Davis Mills has over the last 2 weeks. 1 target and 1 catch in each game for Woody Marks. 10.5 receiving yards is a low number with Stroud getting back in there. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten ripped up to like 13.5, 14.5 yet. Played that on a pick'em card as well. So a little bit of a spoiler there for both of those in the event you're able to get those same numbers. But do want to pay attention to Will Anderson's status, although nice to have CLV there. We bet it at +4.5 on Houston. Stroud ends up in, and you hear Daniel Jones has a broken fibula and he's going to keep playing through it. That is wild to me. Football players confirmed tougher than us. We got ourselves, it's just funny to see the Dolphins attached to Hill, and it's not the Hill on the Dolphins we're talking about because he broke his leg as well in a lot worse fashion than Daniel Jones, who's still going to play through that injury for what it's worth. Tyreek Hill surely isn't, but we got Jalen Waddle, who's just been ascending the ladder here. Somebody that I am contemplating looking at a couple of different plays. He's going to be pretty chalky in DFS, so I'm already probably going to be invested in some type of his circumstances. But let's talk a little bit about Alvin Kamara getting dinged up here, because I think this potentially unlocks Taysom Hill a lot more than people think. Now, the touchdown number opened around +200. It's already been bet down to around +180, depending on 180, depending on what book you look at. But Taysom Hill, he was kind of a late addition to the party here for New Orleans, and this was always going to be a developmental year. Nobody was going to judge anything about Kellen Moore as a head coach this time around. It just wouldn't make sense to with the personnel that's there. Once he gets his personnel, once he instills a lot of his offense and has, you want to cook with the ingredients. If you're going to cook, you want to buy the ingredients. I totally get it. Is that Bill Parcells back in the day? I think that's who it was. But anyway, New Orleans, we're going to get a lot of Devin Neal potentially. And that's a really uncomfortable piece, that's for sure. But I feel a little bit more comfortable with Taysom Hill and some of the rushing props I'm seeing. He had 10 attempts there after Alvin Kamara got dinged up, had 7. And there was the bye week 11. Taysom Hill, he didn't play until week 5, but people remember he is a touchdown vulture. I'm sure you all know from Alvin Kamara probably betting him in his day. I surely do. Atlanta taking on the Jets. This one's very difficult because the weather looks awful. My projections like Mechie over 3.5 receptions, but I'm not sure that I do. Atlanta's defense is better than we've seen at times. In fact, they were kind of a buy low spot coming off of being horrendous, but they go into New Orleans, they get a W. Kirk Cousins at the helm now here as Michael Penix Jr. is out for the season. And now John Mechie and Adonai Mitchell are your main number 2s over on the Jets side. You got to think Atlanta's going to be pushing Bijan and Tyler Algier a bunch in this weather. And the Jets, their defenses look better at times, and this entire game just looks like a cluster to me, and everything looks pretty darn efficient. I think there's some cheapies to maybe rotate through from a DFS perspective on Sunday, but man, it is a tough football game to bet. Breece Hall going to probably get a pretty pronounced workload as well. And Tyrod Taylor going to get another start here in way of Justin Fields there. So Tyrod Taylor, we expect a little bit more passing acumen, if you will, but hasn't really resulted in Mason Taylor production, hasn't really resulted in a crazy amount of Adonai Mitchell or John Mechie here yet, although now they're going to get their opportunities to see if they indeed can ball. We got Jalen Coker over 2.5 receptions. This one's more interesting to me, and I think this is somewhat pick 'em viable. DraftKings is at -115 with this one, and sometimes, like, I obviously want to have videos that have shelf life, but I more importantly want to teach you how to fish on this video at times rather than just giving you the plays. Because if you just want the plays, I have the analysis over on tails.bet/Lindy. You can check it out for yourself. Again, tons of free plays, putting it out there for different things, but you can kind of get a style for how I break things down, what I care about. DVOA, a big part of my process as well in the NFL streets. And well, the Rams are like number one across the board and everything for me. Matt Stafford's playing for an MVP. This is just such a mismatch. But Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, do they do enough in the ground game against, I think, a pretty decent Carolina defense to potentially kill clock? And obviously time of possession, something that matters. Bryce Young had none of it. And Xavier Legette, if it weren't for his fat foot, I had to hit a ball off Frankenstein's fat foot. Yeah, we would have been a lot happier with that lock there. Ends up falling short by 2 yards in that catch. When he made it, I was off the couch, jumping, screaming, happy, and immediately realized, oh no, he did a boo-boo. But Jalen Coker, he's going to get the slot, and he's going to avoid the Durant combo. I mean, this cornerback, this entire defense with Jared Verse at the helm, I mean, just absurd stuff, how good the Rams are. I think they're the best team in football. Maybe you disagree. Let me know in the video description box below. But I think they've been the most impressive. They have the Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams duo that's just filthy. Fergie Ferg, let me love you long time, starting to figure himself out a little bit too. Young rookies. I mean, we're just looking at some interesting stuff there. Different Ferguson for what it's worth than the other tight end, Ferguson in Dallas. I know the difference for what it's worth. But Jalen Coker in the slot, reception volume should be there. Bryce Young, pass rate over expectation, I should be there. I think they're kind of one of the sneaky backs, just from a DFS perspective, where you get a Ted McMillan out there who can win in any matchup. I think he's an absolute alpha. And you get Jatavian Sanders at the tight end position, Jalen Coker. You get just a cheap grouping, and then you just run it back with Puka. Like, there's opportunities to do that. Again, not to give you too much of the DFS process. You're here for my bets. So Jalen Coker over 2.5 receptions, although do have the DFS channel rocking on NFL Sundays. They're talking you through cash game process. Michael Carter receptions ladder, question mark. Bam Knight. Ooh, Bam Knight. We have to be paying very close attention to this news tomorrow morning, because you could have Michael Carter be like the lone running back who's been there in forever. Trey Benson did not get activated off of the IR, which I was kind of expecting this week, but Lord Almighty, Michael Carter, he used to be in a two-headed, spear-headed backfield in North Carolina. Come on and raise up, take your shirt off, twist around your head, spin it like a helicopter, and then run it into the ground with Bill Belichick. But Michael Carter played behind Javonte Williams to some extent, but it was more of like a 50-50 split where he just was the incredible receiver in college. Michael Carter was. Hasn't really translated in a massive way at the NFL level. He's always been kind of fighting for the job, smaller back. But Tampa's the team you would want to utilize that with. And Jacoby Brissett has by far the highest pass completions and pass attempt numbers across the industry. We're talking 37.5, 38.5 for the attempts of wherever you're looking, 30-ish for the completions. And he's gone way over that the last 2 weeks. Set the NFL completions record 2 weeks ago. You do have Michael Wilson, who should be mitigated to some extent because Marvin Harrison Jr. is back, but I just think you want to be passing the ball the entire time, avoiding the Vita Vea bullshit that you have to deal with on the Tampa Bay side, because they are so good at stopping the run so bad. They are such a pass funnel. Just find yourselves onto something on Arizona in DFS. Raiders taking on the Chargers. Kamani Vidal, I was a little surprised to see his touchdown number get inflated to like -125, -130, but that's the Raiders effect right now. They are abhorrent. And Geno Smith, not the answer. I know we're all shocked by that, but trading away Jacoby Myers, that offense just looks inept. Trey Tucker has really not succeeded as an individual there. And the Chargers coming off a bye. Bye. Just saying. This is probably going to be a Vidal run him into the ground type deal, because we're still going to be waiting for Omari and Hampton to get activated. He will not play on Sunday. So I just expect a heavy dose of Vidal. But You have those 3 wide receivers, Quinn Johnson. I think this is a great Keenan Allen spot for what it's worth. You get a veteran off of a bye. Yes, please. Those are the kind of times that you need to be paying attention to those things. And I think there's ways that I can back them in the marketplace. I haven't done it yet. That's why they're in the lean category. But the Vidal touchdown as it stands right now is the one that I feel pretty secure in if you had to make a play. Minus 125 or better. Yeah, I'd be all right with Vidal. Warren touchdown, though, rounds it all out. 3 touchdowns from Sean Tucker alone. This Buffalo defense has had massive problems stopping the run. And they get Aaron Rodgers back behind center for this one. The Pittsburgh Steelers do. And I'm sure Josh Allen's going to find ways to be successful on Sunday, even though I have absolutely no idea who is going to be getting that production on a day in, day out basis. But I do think Warren is still pretty far ahead of Kenneth Gainwell, even though we're seeing Gainwell get 9-10 carries the last 2 because of the passing game acumen, because 18 carries and 10 carries respectively in those 2 spots there. I think Jaylen Warren has some good days ahead of him here to round out the season. And I think this is kind of a sneaky spot to be backing him just purely because nobody seems to want to in the marketplace. His numbers have stayed pretty stale throughout the entire week. I might have to dip my toes into the pool here, and Warren touchdown is the number one way I see it as of right now. As for the Buffalo side, one thing I wanted to bring up, kind of joked about it because you don't really know where the production's going, but I don't know about Keon Coleman. I haven't seen any word after he was inactive the last 2 games. And you've seen some pretty interesting stuff out of Tyrell Shavers. Yeah, that's a real thing that I just said. They got completely blitzkrieg there against Houston, so not surprising. A lot of teams are getting rolled by that defense, but I have some interest in going Shakira here in some capacity because, well, it's got to get better, right? Famous last words. 50% off, friends, week or month on the Lindy VIP. That is great stuff with the promo code logo at the link below. But before we get ourselves to the likes, be like Lindy, join Tails today. 3 plays for, here on Sunday. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. I didn't plan it out that way. There are no rules to this thing. So let's just get to it, shall we? All righty. We begin with Jacksonville and Tennessee here. Jacksonville 6-point favorites taking on Tennessee. And one popular play, and I know Lofty was on this earlier in the week, and I just missed the number. I think I'm just a little annoyed that I missed the number because I think it was a great read. His rushing prop has gotten jammed from 10.5. I think it was like 8.5 at open, 10.5 up to 13.5, 14.5. If it wasn't Jacksonville on the other side, this Jacksonville defense has been playing some pretty darn good football. 3 of their last 4 here coming off of the bye. They've found W's. They did have the 1 loss in the middle of that, but Trevor Lawrence, functional quarterback, hasn't been good by any means. 13, 14, and 18 pass completions. It's not really getting it done by any means, but had the 3 picks along with 3 tutties there last time out. Somebody that I don't really know how I want to back, Parker Washington. Don't really know how I want to back Brian Thomas Jr. now that he's back. I just don't know what the split's going to be. So it's basically unders or pass in the passing game there. But rounding it out on the Tennessee side, Cam Ward, rushing prop. I just think it's a little bit too efficient for me now after it's gotten bet up. And now it's staying pretty still around 14.5. So if you really want to go for it, do it. Obviously, he's gone over the last 2 by double that rush line, but that kind of stuff doesn't matter to me. Every team is its own entity. I'm worried about this game. And in this game, I want to talk about the running back situation on the Jacksonville side. We saw a really nice outing from Travis Etienne. Trevor is brother, Carolina punt returner, but Travis Etienne, this is an interesting one because he's had 16, 19, 15 rushing attempts, 22 actually before it too, coming off of a week 8 bye, which obviously did him some good. He's looked a lot better. He's had a lot of juice. 5.7 yards per carry last time out. They didn't need to bring in Bashal Tutin into the mix, but Bashal Tutin is one of those guys that if you saw him play back in college, you knew that he was going to have some gas, and he's a 4th round pick. So like running backs that go in those top 4 or 5 rounds, they've got some juice to them early on. You're kind of looking for that 2-3 year window to really take advantage of it. Running backs remain cheap across the entire NFL landscape, and we can get into a conversation about building your football team, but I do like Tutin as a piece, and there's a reason that they were able to part with Tank Bigsby and get a pick in return because they really do like him. They didn't like the fact that he didn't perform all that well last week, and sometimes you get some of these plays that just pop on your sheet, and you have to really look in depth at it because I've got him north of 40 yards Doesn't mean I want to ladder him up there. It's also a mean projection. We have to trim it down from a median perspective because your 50th percentile outcome is going to be different from a median perspective. It's going to be lower, like it has to be. That's math. But Bishal Tootin, friends, he had 7 carries for just 17 yards last week, about as inefficient as it could possibly get. His rushing prop only went to 26.5 here, coming off of a week before it where people were saying, man, is Tootin the better running back? Should I be starting him in fantasy? These are actual questions that I was getting about Bishal Tootin. Do not start him in fantasy this week by any means, but we're talking only 26.5 rushing yards for a guy who has routinely been getting around 8 carries a game here in the post-Tank Bigsby era. Yeah, I like Tootin quite a bit here. Plus, if it's a blowout script, we saw him get 15 carries when they blew out the Chargers 2 weeks before it. So, Bishal Tootin, my favorite rushing yards prop. Didn't expect to see that one when I woke up early in the morning. Minnesota taking on Seattle. This is embarrassing. This is actually downright embarrassing that my Minnesota Vikings are 12.5, nearly 14-point dogs taking on the Seattle Seahawks when a year before it, we went into Seattle with the quarterback who's going to be quarterbacking for Seattle, Sam Darnold, and we beat him. Sam Darnold played awesome in that game for what it's worth. It was pouring rain. It was a beautiful football game. So, of course, he's going to just make us pay for our sins. And Jackson Smith-Njigba, I don't know how many times I can say he's that dude. He's just continued to be that dude. He is that dude, except that he is that dude. But there's still a dude on the Minnesota side. We failed betting him last week, but somehow, some way, friends, he goes from plus 135, and I get it. The implied total for Minnesota is minuscule. They do not have J.J. McCarthy at the helm. They're going to be going to Max Brosmer, and this is just such a fascinating case study. He's a guy that during the preseason, 60% of passes completed, 364 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. What does that mean? I have absolutely no idea. He has not played at the NFL level here yet. He's taken, 5 snaps? Garbage time stuff against the Chargers, garbage time stuff against Cincinnati when we blew them out, which feels like forever ago. 2-0. Oh, those were better days, weren't they? Or were we? No, 2-1. We won week 1. We lost week 2. We won week 3. All right. Yeah, we got that number. But wait until you see this number. This is available at DraftKings.com. Justin Jefferson anytime touchdown plus 275. I get it. It's the Minnesota Vikings. It's Max Brosmer. Who the flying F knows that? But I do know one thing. If you're an NFL quarterback, period, end of story, you have a functional arm attached to your body, don't you throw it to the guy who's open all the time. And J.J. McCarthy could not have been worse. There were some stats going around. 2 games this season, Minnesota would have had a better chance to win football games if he had dropped back and spiked the ball every single snap. That is a true story. I don't know how it's true, but it's true. Two games where we were better off with no quarterback. Give me a guy who's just randomly off the street. Justin Jefferson, look his way there, plus 275, way too talented, and I get it. Seattle's defense is absolutely incredible, but that is a jarring price to be getting. You have to play stuff like this when it pops up because in the NFL, broken plays, things happen, and when you get the majority of the targets on your football team, we have to project it as such. I have this as a way better price than plus 275, but keeping it as a half unit because I'm already miserable as a Viking fan. Don't make me cry twice. Denver taking on Washington, to my favorite play of the weekend. And I love my wife, but if she heard what I'm about to say, she would divorce me. Flat out, would not be happy with me. Denver taking on Washington. I come from a family, Midwest family, but I married into an Oregon family, and they love Bo Nix like a second son. I like Bo Nix. I think he is very underrated. I think he is a great and accurate passer. I thought coming into this year, he was going to be very viable in the fantasy streets as well. And that's come to fruition at times. But there's some feast and famine to Bo Nix because this running game doesn't look the same way it did a couple weeks ago. Yeah, RJ Harvey, somebody drafted, another running back, rookie running backs. We can kind of go through the Rolodex here. Brought in to, potentially be that dude eventually, but I don't know if he's that dude now, and he's going to have to try to be. Him and Jaleel McLaughlin, I will remember you. Shout out my Sarah McLaughlin fans, all 4 of you, and Man, thank God we don't see that commercial anymore. It's so sad. But Washington, obviously they're in shambles. No Jaden Daniels here for another week, although they could have probably pushed him up there, but they're 3-8. They're not going anywhere here. So just kind of bide your time, get healthy, figure out your life week 14, and then just go along and end your season and go to Cabo. But it's not that I think that Washington's got some great defense. They surely do not. Pretty much the inverse. But I expected pretty high rate passover expectation here for Bo Nix. And as such, Denver plus 5.5 here. Not going to be playing that one. I just would think that this number would be north of 7, wouldn't you? That's kind of where it was sitting for a majority early in the week, and now getting bet down because people recognize Denver, even with Pat Surtain back, can this offense do enough? We're going to find out, but I'm going to bet a Bo Nix interception while we're at it. Previous to the Chiefs game where he looked incredible, absolutely incredible against the Chiefs, he had thrown 4 picks in the 3 previous games. He is somebody who has 8 interceptions on the season, 18 tutties to go with it here. But if that running game's not going, expect more passing volume from Bo Nix than what you would probably want if you're Sean Payton in a spot like this where you would want to just roll over a bad Washington team. But they get Terry McLaurin back. They get some other pieces back. I think Washington can make this game competitive, make Bo Nix continue to be pushing the ball forward. And as such, even money on his interception, I would play this up to minus 145. That is technically a lock at this number, but there's very low liquidity where I ended up playing it there on the Novig side. So I didn't want to go crazy. Wanted to get, let everybody who could get to it over on Novig fire it up in the premium Discord. But minus 115, minus 120, the readily available numbers at DraftKings FanDuel, just fine with those as well. Fire them up, and I'll see you back here for Monday Night Football and Monday NBA, Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. One more time for the people in the back. Be like Lindy, join Tails today. Those are 3 lovely plays for you. Hopefully, we can find a little bit. Chaos is a ladder. Pay attention to the Michael Carter one. That one could really look interesting for the NFL slate, but low totals across the board. Pretty tough sledding, I would say. Pretty efficient numbers this week. Don't go crazy with your touchdown prop or your touchdown. Plus 275 on Justin Jefferson. I just had to. But don't go crazy with your touchdown parlays. There's not going to be a lot of scoring, I don't think, on this slate. There's no real high-octane offenses taking part. So be like Lindy, join Tails today. And let's be pretty frugal with our Week 13 Sunday Bankroll Monday. It's going to look pretty darn good. And that does it for another edition of NFL Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this slate. I got nothing else for you here. Let's get ourselves some winning tickets here on Sunday, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NFL streets on Sunday. Bye.